Giant grabbed it with a gentle hand. The farmer's half-month's work was done in the blink of an eye. Then he used his fingers to draw a stream from the river, and let the water irrigate the freshly plowed fields. The seeds take root and grow instantly, but the king of the land was always on the lookout for trouble with the giant. When he saw the giant helping the peasants, the king blew his trumpet to summon the giant, and ordered the giant to fetch water from the river, to change the water for his own personal fountain. Every castle here is guarded by a giant. The giants also help the people to pick the fruits during the busy season. When people were building their houses, the giants would help fetch the dirt from the mountains, to help them do what they could. But the selfish king thought the giants could only serve him, so he arranged for the giant to build a statue of himself. Even so, the giant didn't show any resentment, but after building the statue, he went to the other side of the mountain, and planted the saplings he had grown there. But the king ordered his soldiers to cut down the saplings. This time, the giant didn't remain silent. The giant didn't remain silent, but stood in front of the soldiers with his huge hand, to show his attitude. Even in the face of the king's order, the giant shook his head and refused. The king took out his trumpet and blew it, and ordered his soldiers to attack the giant. And the king's foolishness hurt the giant's heart. Disappointed, the giant left on the spot. As the giant slowly disappeared from sight, the king continued to cut down the trees. The king continued to cut down all the trees around him. The green hills of the town were slowly eroded by the wind and sand. In the end, there was not a trace of life left. The people had to move their families to other towns. The king was left alone. The statue that he had built in the past was now in a state of disrepair. The king realized his mistake, looking at the footprints of the giant. So he set out to find the giant. He followed the giant's footprints and searched for him. Even the rain and the muddy roads didn't stop him. On his way to find the giants, he saw the people and the giants running their homes together. In bad weather, the giants would protect their castles in their arms. It was then that he realized that the giant had been watching over them. After a long and arduous journey, he finally saw the figure he had longed for. At that moment, the giant was still planting saplings. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Turning around, he saw a thin old man with a full beard kneeling in front of him. The giant gave him a puzzled look. Then the king took out his crown. The giant saw the familiar crown in front of him. He recognized the king. He was about to get up and leave. The king rushed to apologize for his behavior, but the king accidentally crushed a small flower. Looking at the crushed flower, the king blamed himself. He slowly took the flower in his hands. The giant also noticed the king's change, so he extended his hand to the king, regardless of his past grievances. And so the giant took the king back to their castle. The king cleared the land and the giant planted the saplings. Together, they rebuilt their home.